Can't care to divorce. A lesson for you. I am at a loss here, don't know where else to go. We have been married for almost 3 years, together for almost 6. I found out last year my wife had slept with another woman after 1 year of marriage. I was kind of mad, but also kind of interested. So fast forward to 2 weeks ago. My wife had been helping a friend get to work. Something seemed suspicious, so I installed something on my computer after nearly 3 months of her not being home regularly. Found she had an affair last August. I felt as if I was going to have a heart attack. We calmly talked about it, and I told her I was willing to forgive her, because I had been really lacking in the affection-giving department for a long time now. When I say lacking, we had bond like once every 2 months. It was mostly my fault. But anyway, she kept staying at her friend's house, and I felt there was still something suspicious. I waited for the right time, and searched her phone. I was right again. Turns out, she was really falling for this other guy, who was a jerk and cheated on her. I completely lost it, nothing physical, but yelling and swearing. You get the drift. They had been talking for the whole time she had been over there and had sex many times. Now she is saying she wants to work things out with me, after I brought it up. I do want to work things out, but I can't get rid of these feeling I have of hate and contempt for her. There are a few more factors in play here. 1. She spent thousands of my money on stuff for him, and I have a hard time getting money I need for the week. 2. She may have contracted an STD. And the most important 3, I haven't really seen a true regret from her yet. She says she was sorry, but for me it's not enough. 4. The last guy was a complete jerk, and I am nice, very supporting, pay all the bills. Not be overshadowing. Why him? I need some help getting over all this. I do want to work things out, but I have to get over all this first. I know I will never forget. Just need a place to talk to someone about this. Well, I don't really consider the first cheating. I mean, I kind of do, but not really. She claims to want to fix our marriage, as do I. I understand I was part of the problem, with no affection, sex, and she had told me many times that it was going to cause a problem. I just haven't seen what I consider a true showing of regret. I told her things are going to change, big time. She wants a jerk, I'll give her a jerk. I guess it really doesn't matter if it is a guy or girl. Cheating is cheating. I want to know if it is possible for us to work things out. I know a lot of this was caused by me, in a roundabout kind of way. I still love her. She has a much higher sex drive than I did. I guess I'm waiting for the breakdown, when she actually realizes what she did. It hasn't exactly happened just yet, or maybe it has and I haven't seen it. If nothing works, then I'm out the door. But whatever, she is back home with me. After I found out about the first guy, she came home and stayed. It was about 10 days later I found out about the second. I know I am making excuses, but I am trying to make myself feel better. I guess. I don't know why we weren't having sex. I had no sex drive. It was so bad, and I don't know why. I still found her attractive, but just didn't want to have sex. After performing, I would actually tell myself, well, don't have to do that again for another month. I know that sounds bad, but I don't know why I thought that. I'm wondering if I have low testosterone. I need to get tested, along with a STD test. I am the only one working, so all the money coming in and out is from me working. She is in school. After I found out about the first guy and confronted her, she broke down the day before I found out about the second guy. She kept saying she was sorry for hurting me. I asked her who she wanted to be with. She told me that after I found out about the first guy, she realized that I was what she wanted. She did try to talk to me about the lack of sex. I guess I did not listen, or try to change. I suppose I took her for granted. That was my mistake. When I asked her why with the second guy, she said he gave her attention and affection. Ever since I confronted her about the first guy, she completely stopped spending money on the second guy and came home. I think that shows a little restraint there, although it isn't enough. I have not begged for my marriage. I have simply stated how I feel and asked her what she feels. She states she wants to work it out. I intercepted a message to one of our mutual friends where she told him she doesn't feel she deserves me. That may be true. She has been working some on fixing the problems. She is setting up appointments for STD tests and getting me checked out as well. There is going to be no more chances. I was more willing to forgive the woman and woman thing, even though it was cheating. It was also a fantasy. If this doesn't work, I am done, throwing in the towel. I don't want to give up just yet, but if things don't turn around quickly, I'm done. I am in the process of writing my list of demands I have, such as opening my own bank account, writing a no-contact letter to her partner, etc. 3 months later. It has been almost 3 months since I found out about my wife's cheating affair. We have been working on things, and so far, they are going okay. I really have taken a deeper look at myself and what I want instead of always putting her first. I always considered myself a nice guy and let her do anything she wanted without worrying about who she was with and where she was at. Those days are gone. I have developed into somewhat of a jealous person. We have our good times, and we have bad times as well. I have forgiven, but not forgotten. I do not trust her at all. She knows this. I think my two biggest problems up to this point are the triggers and the lack of trust. My wife has always had more guy friends, and I get that feeling whenever she talks to them, even though there is nothing going on. I have checked. I want it to stop. She is working on the marriage, not as much as I think she should, but I may be asking too much. She has had no contact with the I have never been the type of person to say what's on my mind, but that has changed. I hold nothing back. I tell her exactly what I think, when I think it. I still have not broken down and let loose a flood of emotions, which I am waiting to happen. I have come to realize my wife has a lot of growing up to do. She missed out on a lot of her fun days as a teenager. Her mother passed when she was 7 and her father died when she was 17. And she has been taking care of herself until I came into the picture. Now she wants to relive those days. I have been pushing her to grow up and she has been better. I work as a club DJ, which incidentally is where my wife met OM. I don't work there anymore, unrelated to the affair. I went on a rampage one night when I wasn't performing. The OM's roommates were there and I told them if I ever saw him, it was going to be on, and if they didn't like it, I would do the same for them. Am I proud of that? No, but I felt it needed to come off my chest. I was drunk at the time, and I really didn't care what anyone thought. One more thing that bothers me is out of all the people that knew the affair was going on, only 2 came to me and put the bird in my ear. Several of the people that knew are her family and friends. Some were even in our wedding. I feel betrayed by them as well. I feel that if they knew what was going on, they should have told me. In conclusion, I am still in a lot of pain. I am thankful that I have friends who I can talk to and trust their advice. I had a fleeting moment of myself, talked to my best friend, and he told me what I had to lose. I don't have many friends, but the ones I do have are true. I am still majorly stressed out all the time, but it is getting better day by day. I did not know the first guy. They had met at a bar while I was at a racetrack. She was there with some friends, got drunk, and went home with him. I had seen the second one but did not know him at all. She has probably 20 guy friends. None are close friends. More people she went to school with. She doesn't see them hardly at all. I have known most of them for at least 6 years. Right now, there is only one I don't trust. He has been in and out of prison for years. There has been almost no contact with this guy. Why I'm wasting my time? Because I love her, and I believe there is a glimmer of hope that things will work out. I believe that marriage is something that shouldn't be just dropped when someone makes mistakes. If there is any hope of reconciliation, then I will stay. If I see after a year that things aren't changing, then I will have given it my best shot, but it could not succeed. As I said, there aren't any close guy friends. For the most part, the guy friends she does have, I trust. I mentioned the one I don't trust. It's not like she hangs out with these guys, or even talks to them on any kind of a regular basis. If she sees them in a store, she will chat with them for a bit. I fully understand that I did not cause the affairs. When I first found out about the affairs, I did blame myself 100%. But now I see that my actions, or lack of, are not to blame. I have told her that I know I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, but that was in no way a reason to cheat. If things were that bad, she should have filed for divorce. I know she wasn't happy in the marriage. That was my fault. There was no intimacy at all. So instead of doing the right thing and filing for divorce, she made wrong choices. I was oblivious to her unhappiness, even though she told me her issues time and time again. That was my fault. In a way, I am glad everything happened the way it did, as screwed up as that sounds. I have always been too nice and set no boundaries. I see now that I can't be like that. We are basically starting over, except I have no trust. I have forgiven, but the fairy tale is over. It is hard work, but as long as she's trying, then I will try. To a point, as long as things continue to improve, it will be okay. If anything goes downhill again, then the marriage has run its course. But I will have put in a good effort, and I can't say I didn't try. 4 years later, I was trying to recover from the wife having affairs. I should have left then. I was too naive, I guess. So here I am again. Sorry if I seem to be rambling a bit. I haven't slept much since I found out the latest. Anyway, to make a long story short, I have been noticing a change in my wife the last couple years or so. She started going out all the time, drinking a lot, staying out all night. Many times she wouldn't return until after lunch the following day. I knew some of the people she was hanging out with, and I confronted her several times about cheating again. She always denied it. My mind was never quite satisfied with her answers. I found evidence of her sexting another guy, confronted, and shut it down. On top of this, she was blowing money left and right. Over 25% of our annual income was spent on eBay purchases. I also strongly believe she has undiagnosed borderline personality disorder. The constant lies were unbearable. This last time, I have always had an uneasy feeling about this guy. He would hang out with my wife and her friends sometimes. Big time med abuser. I confronted the wife several times about this guy, but never had proof. She always denied anything ever happened. I don't want to divulge a lot of information about how I found the proof they were having sex, but I found out without a doubt. along with a lot of other stuff. I decided right then this marriage is over. I checked out immediately. I haven't dropped the bomb yet, because I want to check this from every angle so I don't make a mistake. I have been going day to day with a fake smile, haven't moved out, giving the illusion everything is normal. I have an appointment with a lawyer next week for a consultation. I currently have $500 to my name. The only reason I have that is I hid the money I made on side work from my wife, so she wouldn't spend it. Lawyer is going to cost me $150 for the consult. Then I should know which direction I should take for an at-fault divorce or no fault. My state is extremely difficult to prove to the courts a case of adultery. Basically, she would have to say, under oath, that she committed adultery. I'm pretty sure I know which direction the lawyer is going to recommend. I shouldn't have to pay any spousal support either. I have been working on a property settlement plan, just kind of keeping a running list of what stuff I want. I am split on whether to cut my losses or try to fight for everything I can get. Pretty sure that with my finances, I will be cutting my losses though. I just can't afford to drop a ton of money to potentially get nothing in return. This will be discussed with the lawyer next week though. I suppose this is mainly a vent, a portal to release some frustration. My mind races constantly. I'm mad at the fact I wasted so much time on a one-sided relationship. At one time, she could do no wrong in my eyes. I have dealt with the cheating, the emotional abuse, constant put-downs and complaints. From the first infidelity, she blamed it on me. The fact I supposedly was never at home didn't meet her needs. I know I made mistakes, put other people in front of her sometimes. Maybe I did spend a lot of time away from home, on hobbies I enjoy. I always invited her to attend, tried to suggest some hobbies for her to enjoy. It was never good enough. Even when I cut time out of my hobbies to spend more time at home, it was either constant bickering, or her stuck on the computer playing online games. I understand now that my needs weren't being met either. Why would someone want to sit at home with someone who has mentally zoned out for 3 hours at a time, playing a game? She always complained about sex. Not quality, but quantity. Never enough, and many times I would try to initiate, but I wasn't romantic enough. Sex shouldn't be planned out was one of her favorite sayings. Sure, I enjoy spontaneous sex just as much as the next person, but working 60+ hours a week, coming home and jumping in the bed is out of the question. Have to shower, prepare, these things need to be planned out to an extent. Now my mind travels to the future. What will it hold for me in future relationships? Will I ever be able to trust again? Will I ruin another relationship? What can I do to fix myself? I have let myself go the last few years, and I have always been extreme self-esteem problems. I have some social anxiety problems. Now, maybe I can work on myself, instead of trying to appease someone who had no empathy towards me whatsoever. Time to begin working out, spending more time with my friends, whom my wife shunned, instead focusing her attention on the drama-filled friends of the week. Seriously, all of her decent friends, she has run away the last few years. No kids, thank heavens. About 2 years ago I started kind of wanting a kid. Some of my friends were having their first kids. That is one of the few things she did do for me that was nice. Not bowing to pressure for a kid. As much as I would like to have one now, I am so glad we don't. The house was purchased by her before we even met. I was never put on the title. I know, stupid. I may still be entitled to some part of equity, as I have put a lot of money and time into the house. Most of the possessions in the house are worthless, and were there before I moved in. There are very few items I want. This will probably be the biggest issue of the whole divorce, and I really am not worried about fighting for much of it anyway. Honestly, out of the whole house, there are about 10 things I really want. I will wait to see what the lawyer says on that. Another issue is her running up a credit card, maxing it out. This happened during the time she was spending so much on eBay. She ended up deciding to go with credit counseling. I didn't think it was a good idea, but whatever. I know she opened the cards up in her name, because at the time her credit was better than mine. She then got me a card linked to that account. I checked with a few lawyers, all about the same price. I went with this one on a recommendation of a friend, who just went through a divorce as well. Part of me wants to see her suffer completely, broke, and the other part wants to just leave, take my few things I want, and be done. The more I think about it, I would hope the realization that her ways have crumbled her stability will be plenty of suffering. As I stated before, I am almost sure she has BPD. Literally all other indicators I notice. I have a funny feeling her mind will make it out to too bad. So sad. On to the next one. There is no way I can afford to drag it out that much. Best I can hope for is maybe an at-fault divorce that goes into effect immediately. Just a little set-a-night update. Wow, today has been crazy. I could feel the twinges of my codependency beginning to fire up a bit. So I went back to my evidence to run back through again. If nothing else than to fire up a bit of anger to push through. Anyway, I paid a lot more attention. Found 3 more times where she had cheated. 2 of these go back to within 6 months of our wedding. I had a thought about one of them but couldn't prove it. I'm not even mad, or really upset, just amazed. Through the last few years, I kept blaming myself for a lot of the marriage problems. Turns out I married a serial cheater. On to better news, I have leads on 2 homes for rent. All of my close friends have stepped up with support. Everything from help moving to furniture. Once I leave, I'm very curious as to who will stick by my side. Our mutual friends, that is. Well, that's is all for now. Doing more house hunting tomorrow. I really have a lot of questions that are bugging me about my whole relationship. I really want to know if I messed up, or how bad, if nothing else, to possibly help in future relationships. Beginning early in our marriage, my wife would complain that I didn't spend enough time at home. I had some hobbies that I did spend an average of about 20 hours a week at. Usually 3 nights a week, couple hours a night, and every other set for about 6 months out of the year. Other than this, I was at home. During the biggest part of this time, she was not working, and had no hobbies of her own. I tried to get her to find a hobby. The only one she found was online gaming. Think Candy Crush. I also tried to get her interested in my hobby. While we were dating, she expressed interest in the same hobby, but after we got married, she wanted no part of it. She claims this is why she cheated, okay, but pretty much the entire marriage. She also claimed that I wasn't affectionate enough after we were married, which is probably true. I am not, nor ever been a fan of PDA. I guess I just feel that these should be reserved for the bedroom. Not that I didn't hold hands, or kiss her in public. I felt extremely uneasy with making out in public. I would always give her more of a peck on the cheek. I really didn't dance when we went out. One of the last things, she has been saying I didn't do the things I did to get her. Like rubbing her feet. She says I used to rub her feet all the time when we dated. I really didn't, maybe once every couple months. Not sure where that is coming from. I always made sure the home was taken care of. I would try to make a little extra money to ensure we could make it through a rough patch. I cleaned, and cooked, washed my own clothes. The only thing she had to do was wash her own clothes and pay the bills. I did everything else and began feeling resentful about it. When I would bring it up, she might load the dishwasher once, and then swear at me when I didn't unload it. I feel that I am a good catch. I am honest, faithful, and hardworking. Yeah, I probably have a problem with affection. Please pick my story to find out what other problems I have. Be hard on me, please. I feel I need it. I thought there might be a chance of reconciliation. She cried and begged me not to go, that she was sorry, and it would never happen again. I also thought her cheating was caused by me. Yeah, I know, stupid. This was the first time I found out, which was actually 2 different guys. I just discovered them at the same time. I had to show her proof before she confessed though. As it all turns out, I have evidence of 2 other incidents previous to these that I just found. I believe the count is either 7 or 8 different people she has cheated on me with. Probably countless times. She is an expert at lying and manipulation, and I never had a clue. I spent well over 20 hours a week with her. When she would complain about me not spending enough time with her, I cut back the time I spent away. More time at home. Remember those online games? Turns out she really enjoyed that, because I would sit there, and she would play these games for a minimum of 4 hours a night. Usually, it was more than that. Also, she would sleep at least 12 hours a day. In fact, she still does on the weekends. The time I was there on the weekends, she was asleep. I tried including her. Every weekend I invited her to go. I think she went 2 times. She wanted to drink and hang out with her friends. This is fine, but she demanded I go as well. I feel she wanted things a certain way but was not willing to meet in the middle. It was either her way or no way. I am leaving her, for sure. I didn't in the past because I hoped there was a chance. After the most recent revelations, I absolutely refuse to subject myself to the emotional torture this has put me through any longer. If she had spilled the beans in the beginning, and come clean, it may have worked out. The trickle truth and gaslighting really got me good. Plus, I'm fairly sure I have severe codependency problems. After all she has done, I still feel the need to help her. I have to go forward with separation, divorce. I must force myself to do it. Talked to lawyer today. Went very well. He said it should be no problem at all. I asked him about since I had moved out, could I be found guilty of desertion? He said no judge in their right mind would go for that given my situation. He said I have to wait 12 months, and if divorce is what I want, I give them $600. They get the paperwork together. Deposition. And probably never have to even go to court. Story 2. Unfortunately, my situation is difficult to explain. My wife and I have been married for 2.5 years and have been together a total of over 11 years since high school. We bought a house 3 years ago, have a dog, and even became godparents to our friend's son this fall. So, over the last month and a half I've come to the realization that my wife is cheating on me with a client of hers. She's an ex-abuse counselor. I stumbled upon it because I noticed that my wife had been acting differently. I first noticed that she was carrying her cell phone with her everywhere. Bathroom, when she went to shower, from room to room, etc. She then was staying up absurdly later for her when she's normally an early to bed early to rise person. The most alarming thing I noticed was that she seemed to just be distant, and it was almost like I wasn't even there. A few days later I was able to check her phone and I found some disturbing texts to a number that wasn't listed in her phone, implying that she had hung out with the person and that she missed them. I confronted her about them and she said that nothing was going on and it was just entertainment. When I pushed the issue demanding answers, she spun it back around on me that she was unhappy because I've been too complacent with things and that she felt like she was walking on eggshells around me. I took what she said about the texts at face value and tried to push past it. I also tried to make some changes with the way I was to address some of the issues she brought up. Unfortunately, after a couple of days I couldn't take it anymore and I looked at our cell phone bill to see how long and how much she had been texting with this person, who she refused to say who it was. What I found just astonished me because she had been talking to them for over 2 months, with it really picking up over the last few weeks. I decided to do a lookup on the phone number she was texting with, but the results I got back seemed weird to me at the time. As the week went on, things didn't change much and I couldn't help but keep checking that history. She would say she had to work late, which normally seemed fine but would actually go there. When she would come home, she reeked of cigarette smoke when I know she doesn't smoke and she can't stand to be around it without getting a migraine. I tried giving her the benefit of the doubt throughout all this, probably because I was in denial and I wanted to believe her when she said it was nothing. I pretty much figured out when she had gone to see this person and basically confirmed that it was really one of her clients. After close to a week of this, I confronted her about why she was texting this person so much and who it was. Again, she refused to talk about it and continued to try and turn it around back on me. She left the house to go to her mom's the first time I brought it up, since I initially brought up what I saw, but turned around and came back. Again, stupid me, I took what she was saying, or not saying, for what I wanted it to be and tried to see if things would change. A week later I tried again, this time approaching it as I know you are talking and seeing someone else behind my back. She denied everything, continuing to say it was nothing, and it started a huge fight. The fight ended with her saying that she didn't know what she wanted anymore, including whether she wanted to be married or not, which pretty much crushed me even more. I couldn't go to work the next day and felt totally defeated. By the time she came home from work I moved from sad to angry and ready to pounce on the smallest thing, except she came home and was acting like everything was fine. I took this as a good sign and tried to go with it. Unfortunately, what I've come realize was that it was pretty much a front. Another week goes by and she has to go to some conference in Atlantic City for work. It was an all-day thing, so I wasn't expecting her to come home until after dinner. I was starting to feel better about things because at this point, she hadn't hung out with the person in 2 weeks. They were just talking. We texted throughout the day, but I got this suspicion that she was going to go there on her way home from the conference. She tried covering all her bases, saying that she and a coworker went out to eat after the conference, then went shopping and gambling. At this point, there was nothing I could do except wait until she got home. When she did, she went right to the bedroom to change her clothes, right to the bathroom to wash her face, and basically right to bed. I figured out that she did in fact go there and lied to me about when they left AC. At this point I asked her, what are we doing to ourselves? It had been a week since we last spoke about everything and it was left on pretty uncertain terms. I pushed it further, questioning where she was, remembering the co-worker she went with was in recovery herself and didn't gamble, meaning they didn't go gambling afterwards. She continued to say nothing else was going on and I kept pushing. Finally, she blurted out that she didn't want to be married anymore and that she'd been thinking it for a while. I tried to talk about that more with her, but the only thing she did was go in the guest room and go to bed. The next day she gets up and it's like the night before didn't happen. At this point I decided to leave the house and went for a drive. Before I left, I said that whatever is going on need to stop and we need to talk about our issues. I said that if she's seeing or talking to someone else, she needs to stop, or we need to seriously think about what our next steps are. The only thing she said was that she wasn't seeing anyone. I left for a few hours and while out she called me to say that she had to go into work for a bit and that she'd meet me at dinner later. We were going out with a group of friends. Turns out that's exactly what it was, and we went through the rest of the weekend. Monday morning before leaving for work she said that she needed space and time to figure things out for herself. I said whatever helps her get to the point of talking about this stuff was good with me, but she needed to be honest. Another week goes by, she still talks to the person, and it's killing me. I'm getting more and more angry, and then she goes there again. She tells me that she worked until 2 but had to go to another office and then visit her grandmother. I couldn't really question the sick grandmother thing, but I knew she went to see this guy. It wasn't until the following Monday that I finally said, "You are lying to me and seeing this guy," and I pulled his name out. She was shocked that I knew his name and that he was one of her clients. She denied that anything was going on and that he was even her client. Finally, she admitted to lying to me about who she was talking to and that some nights she doesn't come home from work right away. I pursued it, but it went nowhere. She went back to her point about not wanting to be married anymore and we tried talking about that. We ended it that we would try and work out our issues, but we needed to talk more about it the next day. When we spoke the next day, she reversed course and said she wanted out. I said if she wanted to be with one of her clients, or anyone else for that matter, then get go. She didn't leave, she just again denied that it wasn't her client. I pushed that and we actually got back to the point of where we both needed to think about what we wanted and needed for our relationship. Last night was a week since we spoke about everything. In the week since we've been basically coexisting and she seems pretty content with that. Me, I'm torturing myself thinking there's some way she'll come around. We're supposed to be going away at the end of May and I'm trying to get her to agree to working on things until then and then seeing where we are after the trip. I already said that I don't know if it's best for us to be going away if we are in this uncertain place. She doesn't know that I know as much as I do about everything. It's hard for me to try and catch her in the act of seeing the guy because of where she works, and it seems they meet up last minute. Despite all of this, I want to try and work things out with her, but I'm not sure if that's feasible anymore. Plus, I'm concerned for her because this guy isn't necessarily a model citizen and she's putting her career on the line by even hanging out with him. I feel like a sucker about all this because I basically let it get to this point. It also kills me because things seemed like they were great between us up until I noticed her acting differently. I'm not sure what to do next. Thoughts. I've been kind of wallowing back and forth with what to do. Definitely have been in a state of limbo that I only made worse by not taking a stronger stance from the get-go. I wanted to believe what she said, simply because I never had a reason to not believe her. In reality, I was in denial. At this point, I'm trying to figure out the best way to confront her directly about what she's doing to me and ultimately us, but I also think the 180 is the way to go. If anything for me, is there a happy medium between confrontation, forcing her away, or the 180, or are they mutually exclusive? I don't think anyone likes when this happens to them, but I'm done being the doormat. Now I just need to figure out the best way to handle it for me. Update. I've confronted my wife. I told her that all I wanted for her was to be happy, but that I can't continue living like this. I'm tired of her lies and deceit and I deserve better than that. I said that she either needs to go to NC or move out. I drew my line in the sand. She sat there stone-faced. I tried not to push for answers, but I couldn't help. She said nothing, except that apparently, I know everything already, so why she should say anything. I'm not sure how realistic reconciliation is at this point, but in reality, that's out of my control. My comment, there is no realistic possibility of reconciliation, and of course it's out of your control. The decision is hers. It's always been hers. It's perfectly clear that she doesn't want to be with you anymore. You're headed for divorce, get her to the curb and move on with your life. Plotting ways to try to stop the affair or get her fired aren't going to help you. They're only going to cost you big time, and that you'll lose all hope for some sort of civil divorce. And if she's out of a job, there's a really good chance you'll be writing her a support check every month for a whole lot of years.